So I had a chance to watch the movie last night, and I really enjoyed it. I got a lot out of it, out of the experience of watching it. The first question I had for you is what was the inspiration behind the film?
It was two things. I really wanted to make something that kind of showcased the beauty of Sonoma County, which is the area I grew up in, and I really wanted to capture it the way I knew a local could do.
Hmm.
And also, I was just getting really unhappy about how few movies we have about female friendship and how friendship develops and how it can be such a boost to your personal growth. And there's just not a lot of movies that covered it. In fact, when I told people I was making a movie about girls hiking, they all thought it was a horror movie. So I definitely wanted to change that paradigm a little bit.
Well, and it's funny because there is a moment later in the film where kind of, sort of, you there's something that some people could watch during that movie and think, oh, this is going to take a left turn pretty fast towards something like horror, but it turns out to be really an unexpectedly lovely moment for the characters to show that growth that is throughout the movie. And I think that's one of the things that resonated the strongest with me is the idea that this is a movie essentially about facing our fears and seeing all of the main characters. And I love in the press notes that you include Chloe's mother in there too, because she is as important to this movie in as Nicolette and Chloe are. And I really love that. And it's really wonderful that she could have very easily been written in a way that is very formulaic in terms of being like an overprotective mother, but we find out that there's a lot more going on with her than we expect going in.
Yeah, it was important to me. I come from a family with a lot of anxiety disorders, and
Mhm.
I have one too. And it was important to me to depict someone with a serious, untreated, kind of uncontrolled anxiety disorder,
Mhm.
accurate to my experience of just how nuts that can seem. I mean, to outsiders, and how spiraled out you can get. But obviously coming from a family where that's present a lot, and dealing with it myself, I know that it's a condition that actually should engender a lot of empathy. It is people that are living in fear and anxiety constantly in things that the danger is not matching their level
Mhm.
of trepidation about it. And I find that a very sympathetic thing, but it can wreak havoc on your life is the reality of it. So it was important for me to get, especially with Anne, the mother, that in an accurate way.
Yeah. Were there any particular films that you did mention that you were disappointed with how few films about female friendships that there really seemed to be? Were there any particular films that inspired you in the writing of this movie?
A few, yeah. I mean, I was really inspired by, classic coming of age movies like Now and Then is a great one about female friendship that was really fundamental to me when I was a young girl. It's just kind of girls out there doing stuff. There's also the movie The Man in the Moon, which was Reese Witherspoon's
Mm-hmm.
film, which is about sisters. Was a really important film to me and a beautiful film to me, and had kind of a similar relationship with the outdoors in a way. So definitely those were ones that I looked at as touchstones.
Were there any particular, I mean, every movie obviously has challenges, but were there any particular ones that came up during the making of this movie that significantly changed the way you approach this movie?
There were a couple. We shot it in two segments, well, two and a half segments because we had a reshoot as well. And between segment 1 and segment 2, the wildfires of 2017 burnt down a lot of the areas we had been shooting into in Northern California. And also, I was diagnosed with a genetic heart defect and had to have open heart surgery in the downtime between the two sections. So those were definitely some fun challenges for my first film. But, ultimately, they all fed into the narrative we were talking about capacity and doing things beyond your capabilities. And so that was, it was an exciting way to participate in my own theme.
Yeah, and I think just there's one moment sort of in the third act that I kind of wanted to point to that really kind of resonated with me beyond sort of the the themes and ideas that you're discussing in the movie, but at the same time, they also feed into sort of how Nicolette and Chloe sort of see their journeys in at that moment. And it's when they're in the woods together, and Chloe is asking Nicolette why she's wanting to go the direction she's going with her career, and Nicolette basically, and Chloe asks her, how will that matter? And Nicolette says it doesn't have to matter, and it has to work. And that's what being an adult is. And, it's funny because of the fact that it's like on the surface, if you just take it at face value, it sounds really kind of pessimistic about how adult life is. But if you've lived any as an adult, you understand that there is some truth to that you do get into that mentality at times where it's like it doesn't necessarily, how it matters to me is not necessarily the point. It just has to work for what I'm trying to do. And that sometimes that can be a difficult thing to get out of, and it's nice to see the transition that Nicolette takes in this movie from getting to that point to to transitioning to a different way of looking at.
Oh, thank you. We love that scene. That was a great one to write and to shoot, and I hope people will enjoy it. Yeah, it was important to me to talk about that kind of cynicism that gets, I think, baked into you, especially if you're a person like Nicolette, who is a little bit conformist by nature. You survive by fitting in, You get used to not doing what you want to do because you're trying to survive on a different level, on a social level. You're trying to be popular, be liked, be, accepted. And that means sacrificing a lot of things that may be important to you. And it's not drastic and it's not overblown, but I hope the film is a little bit getting at the idea that, you can tip back the other way. It won't kill you. You can move in a slightly different direction, and you'll probably be a little bit happier.
Yeah. What were if I'm not mistaken, this is for Nicolette, your lead actresses, this was both of their first film, right?
Yeah, they both have theater backgrounds, but they were not film actresses.
What was that experience like, working with people who were not that familiar as far as film set work, but had acted before?
Oh, they were just pros. They were both of them were extremely determined to do their job. Our script supervisor, especially with Chloe, was constantly finding it hilarious because Chloe knew everyone's lines better than the script supervisor with the script in front of her. So they were both just so determined to be as professional as the rest of the crew. And I'm sure it was a learning curve for them, but man, you couldn't tell. It was like they had been doing this all their lives. They had no difficulty making the acting transition. I think from my, and especially Nicolette is a background in musical theater, and so she's used to big acting. I think the only note we ever had to give her maybe once was, remember, the camera's in your face, not at the back of the the back of the audience. But like, they were just such pros, and so great with the crew and no ego, no attitude, nothing. They were marvelous. So I hope they keep doing films because I think both of them were spectacular.
Yeah, they both give really lovely performances, and I think one of the most important things about this movie for me is that it's authentic and it feels. I mean, obviously, it is a movie, but doesn't feel contrived in the same way that some coming of age movies are. And I think that's one of the things that really resonated with me. And I think that's one of the things that is that I can see resonating with audiences too. Has it been able to be screened for audiences at film festivals or?
Yeah, we did. We were just starting film festivals up towards the end of 2019, and we did 3 of them, and then everything shut down for COVID, and we kind of moved our shift to distribution because, the virtual film festivals, God bless them for trying, but it doesn't give you quite the same experience. So we just kind of shifted around. But we did a couple of preview screenings with just local audiences in Sonoma County where we shot it, and then we did the film festivals, and yeah, the audience response has been fantastic. I mean, it's a movie that in no way traumatizes you further in any direction, which I think people desperately need right now. It's just something that they'll walk out feeling a little bit better and a little bit in a better mood. And that was our aim when we started, which was long before COVID, and it's definitely our aim now that people could use a bit of a lift.
Yeah, it's really an entertaining film. It's really a lovely film. Where can people find it upon release?
Right now, it is available for pre-order on iTunes and on Apple TV, and the DVD is available on Amazon. And then when it comes out May 11th, I believe it will also be on several other VOD platforms. So hopefully, whatever your 15 million subscriptions for, one will have it.
Excellent. Well, Jessica, thank you very much for the time today. I really did appreciate your film. I really enjoyed watching it, and I hope you have success with it.
Thank you so much, and thanks for having me on. It's lovely to get to talk to you.